Hi there, Lisa Arana here, and welcome to another Assemble This video. Today's card is all about these fun little framed images. I'm coloring with Arteza Watercolor Brush Pens today and featuring the Sometimes I Wonder stamp set from Unity Stamp Company. Has lots of cute little images. I'm using the floral vase today and some cute sentiments as well. I'm starting out with a scalloped die cut piece of watercolor paper in my mini MISTI, an acrylic sheet on top that I've stamped my images on just so I can see the placement of how they'll look inside the frame I'm going to create using that die cut. So everything looks perfect. I'm going to remove that acrylic sheet and then stamp my stamps using Gina K Amalgam ink, which I know is both watercolor friendly and Copic friendly. So it's a great ink to have in your stash. And I stamped that once, kind of missed an area, so just stamped it again and pressed down to make sure I had a nice solid image. So I'm going to start out watercoloring with the Arteza watercolor pens, doing some yellow flowers in two tones, a lighter yellow and then going over that center with a bit of a darker yellow, and then blending it out with a bit of water using a water brush pen. Next, I'm moving on to the foliage using two tones of green again, and I'm just applying the ink to the paper dry and just going over the stems and the leaves. And then I'll go again and just add a little bit of a darker green to the insides of the leaves, just add a bit of dimension. Again, this is direct to dry paper, and then using a bit of water from that water brush pen to kind of blend it out and make it look a little bit more like watercolor. I'm not using a lot of water in this technique, mainly because these are really tiny images up top and it doesn't require a lot of blending. So last, I'm going to create some pink little flowers, again using a darker pink in the center just for a bit of contrast. And then blending that out one more time, just going for that watercolor look. So moving on to the vase, I'm going to color the two wavy lines with the two tones of pink that I have. Top one, I'm going to use the lighter pink, and I'm just going to add some color to the edges and then use that water pen to kind of blend them together. That'll create a bit of shading between the edge of the vase and the center, just creating some dimension. I'm going to repeat that process using the darker color of pink at the bottom on the bottom wave. Again, adding the paint to the edges of the vase and pulling it to the center using the water pen. This is just some simple watercoloring. I'm not going for some great detail. I just want to apply down the color and just create a little bit of interest by making the edges darker than the center. Next, we're going to move on to the vase using the lighter color of blue, again running around the edges and then using the water brush to kind of blend that out and pull it to the center. You do kind of have to work quickly with the Arteza pens. If you let the ink dry too much, it's kind of harder to pull to the center, so that's why I'm doing one side and then moving on to the other side. At the bottom of the vase, I'm doing the two edges and then again just kind of blending in so I fill in that center color. Just to add a bit more depth, now that those areas have dried, I'm going to take my darker pink and just kind of run around the edges again. Just want to deepen those areas a bit just so they pop a little bit more. Perfect. And I like the way these colors will layer over each other just to make them richer and a little bit smoother. So now onto the blue vase. It dried as well, and I'm going to add a bit of a deeper color using a bit of deeper blue. And again, I'm focusing more on the edges and leaving the center of the vase lighter in color, just so we create a bit of shadow and a dimension to the object, so it looks a little bit more real. Perfect. The fun thing about Arteza markers is you get a different effect by laying down water first or after, or not using water. So they're just fun to play around to kind of see how they work with water and what effect that you're looking for. Plus they layer beautifully, so they're just a fun medium to play with. And last, I'm just going to add a bit of shadow. It's just a cool kind of grayish blue, and I'm going around the bottom of the vase and then adding just a little bit of shadow around the flowers as well. And I didn't even take time to use water to blend that out. So now that it's completely dried, I'm going to glue that down to my card front, which has a bit of a gray cardstock over the front. And then I'm going to create a frame for this. I'm using two dies, a larger rectangle with a stitch that is unfortunately no longer available, but you could use either a straight stitch or just even a regular rectangle, and then a smaller rectangle to cut out the center so we create a frame around this beautiful little vase that we colored. Next, I'm going to add a bit of a bow that I tied with some pink twine, using some Tombow mono adhesive just to glue that down to the corner. And then last, because I just love a bit of sparkle and shine, I'm going to add a bit of Wink of Stella to the vase and then to the flowers as well. Here is the finished card with our Arteza watercolored vase with flowers and the cute little frame and bow just to make it extra special and to highlight that beautiful image. And just because I love that sparkle, there's a little bit of glitter as well. I'll have all the supplies listed below. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked it. Plus, if you have any questions or a sweet comment, post below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed creating with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!